What is up, everyone? My name is Daniel Karan. I'm the founder here at boldwolves.com, where we teach peak performance for introverted men. So let's dive right into today's value. We're going to dissect the mindsets, the lessons, the key foundational beliefs that Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, has that made him into the successful person that he was, dying at a later age and making the biggest company, the biggest retail store in the entire world, billion-dollar company from nothing, just from a dream, right? So let's dive in. Lesson number 1 is understanding the value of $1. From a very young age, he was selling magazine subscriptions, whipping leftover milk to ice cream to sell it, selling rabbits and pigeons. And this all started from like the age of 4, 5, and 6. So from a very, very young age, he did a lot of hard work and realized that when you're committed to something, you will reap the benefits. I mean, if you're listening to this right now, you're probably not 5, 6 years old, hopefully. But if you're listening to this, maybe take a moment to reflect on your life and maybe think back to the time where you had your first job, your second job, or maybe during the holiday, as we have Christmas coming up right now in 2016, when this is being recorded, any type of money that you receive from your family from a young age. What is your relationship with money? Is it one of abundance, hard work, or is it one of lack? And Sam Walton's mindset in his relationship with money was definitely one of abundance, and he understood the work and the perseverance and the grit that comes behind it. Which leads me to lesson number 2, which is Sam's strong bias towards action. He said that he was blessed with drive, a ton of ambition, and from a very, very young age. He always set extremely high personal goals, was very competitive with himself, and wanted to win. Reading all day long and theorizing concepts is definitely super important, and it's one side of the spectrum, but you will never have any success if you're just trying to manifest your whole life without taking action. And Sam, in his business and life philosophy, his whole emphasis in his life was to take more action, and more action. And it turns out to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, which leads me to lesson number 3, which is a really, really crazy story that a lot of people probably read and just kind of, those that have read this biography just read and looked over, but I just found this so interesting. And this is, in high school, he was playing for the football team, right? And every time he played for the team, they would always win. The games that he was injured or he couldn't play because he was sick or whatever, they would lose. But every time he played, they won. So in his mindset, his self-fulfilling prophecy, he saw the world as a good place. He saw the world as a place for him to win and succeed. And he ended up winning. He ended up making one of the biggest companies in the entire world because he just expected it and it fulfilled his own prophecy. So think back to your own mindset. How could we apply this to you, right? Think back to your own mindset and how do you see the world? Do you see it as a place of everything happening for your benefit? Or do you see it as a harmful environment? Do you see it as an opportunity for you to win and dominate? Or do you see it as a place for you to lose, right? It all comes back to your personal perspective. Lesson number 4, know your worth. He worked at a retail store when he was young as a kid, and his boss told him this, and this is just crazy. His boss told him, and this is Sam Walton, the biggest retail store creator in the entire world, until I predict Amazon will take over that reign. But even Amazon used Sam Walton. Jeff Bezos, when I read his interview, and we'll have not to go off track, but when I read his interview, when he read his biography, he said that he's read this book, Made in America, by Sam Walton, the founder of Amazon, read the founder of Walmart's book over hundreds of times and based his entire company on Sam's philosophy, right? So he was working at this retail store as a kid, and his boss told him that you're just not cut for retail. Sam, you're just not cut for retail. Back in Arkansas, you're just not cut for retail. What did Sam do? Did he quit? Did he retire? Did he go be an insurance broker? No. He continued working, dominated, and ended up becoming one of the most successful businessmen in the world. Lesson number 5. How to be great. He opened his first store and learned everything about how to run a store by reading publications, magazines, and staying in his competitors' stores more than his own. He ended up making a really, really crucial mistake, and he ended up signing a bad lease, and despite raising his store from that self-knowledge to being the best in the entire region, and being super involved in the community, because of his bad lease, he ended up having to leave the area. And this is what he said regarding the situation. He said, "I've never been one to dwell on reverses, and I didn't do so then. It's not just a corny saying that you can make a positive out of most any negative if you work at it hard enough. I've always thought of problems as challenges, and this one wasn't any different." Wow. I mean, it comes back to that self-fulfilling prophecy. It's how you view the world. It's how you view your environment. It's how you view everything. Do you see it as a challenge, or do you see it as a negative? Oh, that was inspiring when I read that. Which leads me to lesson number 6, and this is what he says on overnight successes. Somehow, over the years, folks have gotten the impression that Walmart was something I dreamed up out of the blue as a middle-aged man, and that it was just this great idea that turned into an overnight success. It's true that I was 44 when we opened our first Walmart in 1962, but the store was totally an outgrowth of everything we'd been doing since Newport, and like most overnight successes, it was about 20 years in the making. And like most overnight successes, it was about 20 years in the making. He had many retail stores before that, before he opened his own brand, Ben Franklin Little Stores. But just there's no such thing as an overnight success, right? There's no such thing. It requires work. It requires learning. It requires growth. It requires grit, perseverance, and commitment, right? But it's so inspiring. Which leads me to lesson number 7, which is invest in yourself. This is what Sam has to say about this, right? So whatever money we made in one store, we put it in another new one and just keep on going. The first thing I thought about when I read this was how similar this mindset was to Phil Knight and Nike. And as we dive deeper and deeper into these biographies and the more lessons that I share with you, or if you want to read these books along with me, you'll start to notice these similarities. Nike, Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, did the same thing. Every profit that he had, he would reinvest it into the company, reinvest it into himself. Company. So did Sam Walton. Whatever money we made in one store, we put it in another new one and just keep on going. Lesson number 8 is on hiring people. He said that he was great at reading people and their personalities and integrity. He wasn't looking for store managers. He was selecting people he could go forward with. And something one of my mentors once told me that is just such a good way of looking at it is the people that you're working with, or your friends even, are you willing to bring them back to your family for dinner? Like, what type of character does this person have? What type of integrity and personality does he have that you would not be embarrassed to show him around other people, right? So when Sam would hire new store managers, he would focus on that personality and integrity, not just skill in the business. Lesson number 9, finger on the pulse. Always check the competition. Check everyone who is your competition, and don't just look for the bad, look for the good, right? So when I was working in hotels, and I would go to all the pool and beach decks in all of South Beach, every single pool and beach. And the hotel that I worked at was at the best. It had like one of the greatest facilities in Miami Beach. And it's easy to go to the shittiest hotels and be like, wow, this place is a dump, it's bad, I can't figure out anything. Or you could look for the one little tip look for the good and then bring it back and improve yourself. So Sam would always be in competitor stores looking for one little smidget to get 0.01% better. That little growth hack, that 0.001% better. And that is something that this mindset we have to apply to our own lives. Which leads me to lesson number 10, swimming upstream. Walmart's culture was swimming upstream. It made them strong, lean, and alert. Through the adversity and suffering we find again and again, when other companies wanted to squash them, it only made them stronger. So again, these lessons from all these great people come back, and it's like the suffering, the swimming upstream, the unconventional route, what Bold Wolves is all about, finding your own route, finding your own trail, your own path, and not following everyone else's. And yes, there will be suffering, and yes, there will be challenges, and yes, there will be all of this. However, that's what makes you the strongest that you can be, through these challenges, through the suffering, through everything, through the adversity. So, lesson number 10 is don't be afraid to swim upstream. Don't be afraid of all the suffering and the challenges and the adversity. And I know I sound like a broken record repeating this over and over. And while I'm doing it for your benefit, I'm also doing it for my own benefit. We're reminding myself again and again, deeper and deeper into my subconscious, how important it is to persevere and to view challenges and adversity with gratitude, because it allows you this opportunity to grow. Lesson number 11, vacations. On family trips, he would drive everyone's canoes and everything, and would always stop at any retail shop on the way to their destination. So he would have his truck, he would have canoes on top, baggage, clothes, everything for this vacation. And on the way to the vacation spot, if he saw any single retail store, he would pull over, his entire family in the car, and by then they knew the deal, and he would stop, looking, and learn something. Just what a commitment it takes, right? It's not an overnight success. It takes this commitment of going store to store in the entire country in order to reach the pinnacle of success that he did. Which leads me to lesson number 12, long term. He said, I was never in anything for the short haul. I'll just let that simmer for a little bit. I was never in anything for the short haul. Just a nice little reminder. A nice little quickie. Lesson number 12. I was never in anything for the short haul. Lesson number 13. Question everything. I always question everything. It was important to me to make them think that maybe the technology wasn't as good as they thought it was. Or that maybe it really wasn't the end all promised it would be. It seems to me that they tried just a little harder and check things a little bit closer if they think that they might have a chance to prove me wrong. So a team member would come up to him, an employee would come up to him and be like, hey, Sam, we have to invest this amount of money into this because it's the best technology and it's going to raise our profits X, Y, and Z. Sam could be like 100% like behind this person, but he'll still question every little detail, every little number, every little calculation. Not because he didn't think that his team members were doing their job, but just so that everyone would be on their tippy toes and really dive in and question themselves. Is this the best route that we can take? Is this the best thing we can do? Is this the best optimal peak performance route that you can live by? Question everything. Lesson number 14. This is on freedom and creativity. He didn't bog down his entire life with stringent routines. And he always would walk around like there's a natural ebb and flow to discipline, right? And my mentor told me this on Tuesday, actually, a couple days ago. And he told me that there's the 3 levels of his framework for discipline. And the second level, we won't talk about the first level. The second level is where you're super hyper disciplined. You wake up at 5 a.m. This, next thing. You're super hard. You're like Army drill sergeant. The level above that, level 3 in the discipline framework that he provided me, is that there's the ebb and flow. You're like water, like Bruce Lee. That, yeah, you wake up at 5 a.m., but if you wake up at 7 a.m. because you feel like your body needs rest, whether it's through emotional work or through the gym, and it's not because you're lazy, and it's not because you can't wake up at 5 a.m., but you just feel like you need it and your intuition is speaking to you and you're listening, then you stay in bed, and that's the third tier of discipline, being able to go through the ebb and flow. So obviously Sam reached this level. He was committed, he had discipline, but he wouldn't bog down his life with extreme routines. Every day I have to do this. And he always allowed himself for freedom, creativity, and he's known for always having a journal. I'm looking at my journal right now as I say this. A journal right next to him, a yellow notepad, his journal, and a tape recorder. A tape recorder for any ideas, and the yellow pad for any ideas. To always continue his creative spark. Which leads me to lesson number 15. Key to successful partnership in any endeavor, in a relationship or whatnot, is sharing information and responsibility. It makes people feel responsible and involved, and we've gotten bigger and bigger. As they've gotten bigger and bigger as a company, they said that we've really had to accept sharing a lot of our numbers for the rest of the world. What he means by this is they were very secretive about their information, but they knew that in order to take it to the next level, in order to take it to that next level, they had to share all their information with their partners and the responsibility of the failures. The combination of those two equals successful partnership. Successful SP equals SIR. Successful partnership equals sharing information plus responsibility. Lesson number 16 is his tennis life. And he said that he never gave you a point and he never quit. Every time he would play tennis, he never gave you a point and he never quit. But he's a fair man. To him, the rules of tennis, the rules of business, and the rules of life are all the same, and he follows them. As competitive as he is, he was a wonderful tennis opponent, always gracious in losing and in winning. So he played to win, but at the same time he balanced it with that humility, that graciousness, that ideal, and understanding the rules and adhering to them, right? And just dominating in that ring. And winning or losing, he was just a good person. And that really says a lot about his character and his personality. Lesson number 17 is a quote from his brother, Bud Walton, also one of the founders of Walmart. Competition is very definitely what made Walmart from the beginning. There's not an individual in the whole United States who has been in more retail stores, all types of retail stores too, not just discount stores, than Sam Walton. Make that all over the world. Australia, South America, South Africa, Asia, always learning. Bud Walton, that was a quote from Sam Walton's brother, also founder of Walmart. And he said that not a single person in the entire world went into more retail stores than Sam. You want to live at world class. You want to reach personal mastery. You want to be the best at what you do. You want to have peak performance. You want to do this. Then you got to put in the work. You got to go to every single store in the world. You have to do your job better than everyone else. You want to be a genius. You want to reach mastery. You got to put in the work. And it involves this type of commitment. This type of commitment. Going to more stores than everyone else in your world. Being the best in your field at what you do. Learning from mentors. Learning from coaches. Learning from people. And learning through your own action and through your own reflection. Combine all these on a commitment, on a consistency basis, and think big. You'll be way on your path, man. Way on your path. Lesson number 18 in one of his business philosophies is think one store at a time. All of these are so gold, it's not even crazy. And I know this is just like one sentence, and you could easily just skip over this one and just be like, oh, it's whatever. But his business philosophy was to think one store at a time. And this is coming from a person that was growing on an exponential level. Not just regular growth, exponentially, like 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, exponential, increasingly. And he would still think one store at a time, one micro commitment at a time, one baby step at a time, making a masterpiece day every day, and then connecting it to your big picture vision and goals. Whew. Lesson number 19 is 10 rules for Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, his 10 rules for building a business. Are you ready for this? Are you sure? It sounds like you're ready. Alright, let's get it. Rule number 1, commit. Rule number 2, share profits and treat them as partners. Treat everyone as partners. Rule 3, motivate your partners. Motivate your team members or your co-founders or whatnot. Rule number 4, communicate everything. Rule number 5, appreciate. Appreciate everything. People, profits, and whatnot. Rule number 6, celebrate. Rule number 7, listen. Rule number 8, exceed. Rule number 9, control your expenses better than the competition. Rule number 10, swim upstream. Go the other way. Ignore conventional wisdom. Ignore conventional wisdom. And this is what I'm all about. This is what Bold Wolves is all about. This is what all our clients that come to us understand that this growth process is all about. This is what Steve Jobs is all about. This is what any person that has changed the world. I'm looking at my pictures above this screen of all my mentors. And all these people that I'm looking at right now chose the unconventional route. So you can use these 10 rules of Sam's for building a business. All of these are good. I personally love rule number 1, commit, communicate. Rule number 4, exceed. Rule number 8, celebrate, appreciate. I mean, all of these are good. Appreciate, celebrate, but especially rule number 10, swim upstream, man. Swim upstream. Go left when others go right. Zig when others zag. Let's fucking zig when other people zag. And lesson number 20, the last lesson in this freaking value-packed mindset and framework of one of the greatest successful businessmen in the world, Sam Walton. And lesson number 20 is, to succeed in this world, you have to change all the time. If there's one thing that you could bet on and always get a return on, is that things are going to change. Things are decaying, things are growing. It's just part of life. This is the ultimate truth, the law of nature, the ultimate law in the entire world. To succeed in the world, you have to change all the time. And if you want to change, if you want to progress, if you want to grow, if you want to reach peak performance in your lifestyle and in your vision and in your goals and in what you want to accomplish and bring and manifest into the world, and developing a personality and developing your introverted nature, developing your natural core strengths, being happy. If you want all of this and you want to be coached by myself or any of the other coaches in Bold Wolves, send an email to daniel@boldwolves.com and let's set you up with an appointment, a little call, see where you're at, see where you want to go, and how we can better assist you through that. Thank you so much. Look forward to hearing many, many more great man wisdom breakdowns. I'll talk to you soon. Daniel Cron, founder of Bold Wolves. I'm out.